everybody's like, oh, the elves, the elves, the elves, and I love the elves. But it's when you pay attention to what's really going on, the elves are getting saved a lot of times, bro. Hey, what's going on, Lord of the Rings fans? It's your boy, New Better, Do Better. I am a Lord of the Rings content creator. You can find me most on TikTok, but you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on the Signum Collaboratory. I have my very own few shows there, and you can get behind the scenes knowledge of those shows and interworkings, and you can be a part of that production as well. I also teach at Signum University, working closely with Dr. Corey Olson. So I also do freelance Silmarillion classes. So my first encounter with Middle Earth and Tolkien's world was I would say I was about 12 years old. I was in detention, and detention was being held in a library. And I read all the books in the library to make the time go fast. I was a big reader. And then I had no books no more, and my friend brought me The Hobbit. He was like, read this. And I saw the cover, and I saw that there was Gandalf and there was Bilbo in the Erie, and it was a giant bird. And I was like, what is this? This looks like it's going to be fun. And so that kind of drew me in. I kind of judged books back then by their covers if I would like them. And so, yeah, I read it, and then that hooked me right there. Right there, that hooked me. Once I got completed with that, then boom, they gave me the Lord of the Rings, and I was like, what? And there's more. And once I read the Lord of the Rings, man, deeper down the rabbit hole I went. I was like obsessed, man. I was like, it took my whole life, man. It took me to a place I've never been. The writing style, everything about it was just so intriguing. It was so magical, mystical, wondrous. The things he left open for interpretation in your mind that you wanted to know more about. When I heard the word Gondolin, I was like, "What is Gondolin? I want to know more about this place." So yeah, absolutely. Um, I think the writing style that Tolkien used is so it was at the time is so refreshing. I know a lot of people probably try to emulate it now, but it was so refreshing the way, like I said, he just left things open for you to just figure out, and the way he depicts fear, and it was the first time I'd witnessed such like emotion from writing, such like, oh wow, I'm really scared at what he's describing or what he's not describing, because he's talking about how scary it is for him to even talk about it. So that's it. I'm like, what? This got to be crazy. This has got to be insane. So absolutely, yeah, his writing style is what really drew me into that world. Descriptiveness of the landscapes, and of characters, and how brooding they were, or happy they were, or innocent, or just pure evil. Uh, just the way he described them, amazing. Oh no, when I first read the Silmarillion, I was like, man, this is too much, man. What's going on? Like, he throws the whole kitchen sink at you, and I wasn't prepared for it, and I put it down. It's like I tell people that all the time. I tell people I'm a expert on it now, but it took me a while to get through it. Like, it took me a minute. And when I kept stopping when in uh like right after the Ein and Lindale, when he starts to just naming everything, and I was just like, man, I'm not, what is happening, bro? And I'm like, I kept putting it down at the same part. I'm like, I can't, I don't know what's happening. I don't understand this. And then it just one time I just like took a deep breath, and I kind of like just forced myself, and once I got it, it clicked. Something clicked, and then ever since then I've been able to digest it and understand it. I try to like use associative stuff with how I learned it, and that helped. None. I think so. When you read The Hobbit and you read the Lord of the Rings and then you read the Silmarillion and you get a kind of a grasp on it, you don't have to fully understand it, but you get a pretty good grasp on what you just read. You go back and read the Lord of the Rings again. Now, when you do that, it will open up a whole new world of the Lord of the Rings, because it will be like, oh, it will open so many things up, and then read Unfinished Tales. That's what I would do. And then everything from though, like from that, that's the base that you should be at. The history of Middle Earth, I mean, the first two books are like really important. But you kind of got to pick and choose certain things out of them. But when you read Unfinished Tales, it's more about Christopher's picking what goes with what, and it works. And then you kind of understand the process of his editing. Like, okay, this is what dad would have wanted, and this makes sense for, okay, this is why A, B, C, we pick C here, or we pick B there. But those are like the most important things to the legendarium that I find. Not necessarily everything in the history of Middle Earth. It's more like fun history to me that not all makes sense. Sometimes it can be more confusing than helpful to a lot of people. Um, a lot of contradictory stuff in certain parts. So that's why I don't wouldn't necessarily say go get the history of Middle Earth and that'll make everything better. I think those four books there, especially Unfinished Tales, give you a deeper understanding of things. You get the Battle of the Guaflo, history of Celeborn and Galadriel, but you get those different sources, more history on the fall of Gondolin and what was going on there. And you're like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I see this. But that part in the history of Middle Earth where there is Lost Tales where Gondolin is described also, that is the only part that I say is like concrete, like besides certain parts where you're like, all right, we know he didn't go with this. There's no mechanical dragons and things like beasts, but we can see that, okay, this was one intended where Gondolin would have been the 12 houses and so on and so forth and these tales, but he cut it short for whatever reason, to conserve and have space for it in the Silmarillion. But yeah, that one, apart from any other, is more solid. Every other one is kind of like, all right, that doesn't match with what's in the Silmarillion necessarily. So it's confusing. I was really impressed and amazed with Khazad-dûm. You didn't know who Feanor was when you read the Lord of the Rings, and then you didn't know why these elves and these dwarves got along. You didn't know the where the Balrog came from. You didn't know what the Balrog really was when you just read it, you know? And you hear Gimli sing Durin's song. You know this is the origins of the greatest dwarven mansion. Um, the endless stare, the mirror. When Gimli is blamed for the Balrog, and Galadriel calms him, you don't know why that means so much to Gimli, that she's speaking his tongue, and the sundering of the relationships, and why Celeborn is so mean to Gimli. You don't know, but when you go back and find out, the history there is so deep, and that the dwarves of Novgorod had destroyed Doriath, and he probably hates them. Even though I hate him for being racist in a sense, I I can understand from afar, like, if you feel that way, I get it. Even though you're a jerk, you have thousands of years to get over it and understand that it's not his fault and so on and so forth, and not to place that blame on a whole race and this, that, and the third because someone was done wrong. But I get it, like in a way, I see like your hatred toward these people destroyed your ancestral home, and which is what Gimli only wanted to see his ancestral home. And when Galadriel says that, all these things link together from the Silmarillion, the writing on the doors of Oria, like Narvi, and learning about that, then learning about the Gwythanir dying, and Austenethil and their relationship, and a kinship from Aule, and they're both builders, and why it worked, and why Khazad-dûm is so grand, and everything about it is just mithril, and the mining, and everything, man. It just connects, and it just makes it like beyond grandiose, and it makes it beyond tragic, but beyond inspiring as well, because eventually they do get their home back, and it's amazing. It's very grounded. Even though it's super magical as well, it's very grounded in real life things. If you, let's say we take the Greek myths, it's so ridiculous that you kind of like, yeah, this is definitely out of control. Like we definitely know this is a myth. You know what I mean? Like I know that there's dragons and there's Balrogs and things in Lord of the Rings, but the emotions that the characters go through and the betrayals and the pain and the tragedies are so like grounded that you're like, ah man, this could happen to anybody. Like I understand why this character's feeling this way, even though he's the bad guy. Like, you know what I mean? In certain other fantasies, it's like this guy's being ridiculous. They don't even explain certain things. It's like this guy's just being out of control, evil for no reason. And it's like, it is what it is. You're just used to that. It's very Disney-esque. Whereas this, I'm just like, yo, oh man, I really like kind of actually feel for this guy. I'm not cheering for him, but I understand where he's coming from, and I understand, you know, his emotions that might drive him to be pushed this way. And oh man, like the mistakes that they're making, they're supposed to be perfect, these creatures, these elves, but they're not, and they're susceptible to jealousy and envy and hatred and all those things. And it's just really interesting. And even the Numenorians, when they fall, the reason they fall is super understandable, and it's like, man, it's tragedy personified. You know what I'm saying? They're their own issue, you know what I'm saying? And then somebody manipulating that, you know what I mean, and the ways that they go about to do it, uh and the lengths, and that coupled with how everything is described to a T just brings it into a whole new light of realness for me. Man, Sauron, man. Yo, that's my guy, bro. Like, and I'm just so impressed with his character. Not because he's evil, but being that he's evil, what he does with it, how he chooses to approach his evilness, how he manifests things, how he patiently waits, how he devises, how he schemes, how he executes, how strong he is. How he's ridiculously strong, and but he's not the strongest. But he uses it to his best. He uses it the best. Like, you know what I'm saying? Morgoth is stronger than him and is the main villain, but Sauron is a better villain than Morgoth, and he's just so cunning, and he's so sneaky, and he's so, oh man, everything you can think of. Like he's got it all. You know what I'm saying? He's a tactical genius, and he only loses because of his own hubris. Like that's it. He doesn't lose because he didn't, like he like. There's no way anything that went wrong with his plan. There's no way to account for it. Like think about it. Like the ghosts. Like how is he supposed to know there's a ghost army? He doesn't. Nobody knows that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. Like other than that, like that was a masterful plan. Everything he did went about. He even was aware of Saruman's treachery. Like he know what time it is. He knows when to let it go and to leave and come back. And that's so rare. He's obsessed, but he knows, oh, okay, I can't achieve it this way. I'm going to achieve it that way. And that's for I love that about him, man. I love that about him. And Sauron is my Roman Empire, man. My favorite book in the entire Legendarium is The Hobbit. It surprises people because I'm so in love with the Silmarillion. But there's a reason The Hobbit is my favorite. It's because the completeness of The Hobbit, and the from A to Z, and from beginning to end, the fullness and the growth of Bilbo's character, and it's fun. It's not a daunting read. Everybody can do it. But it gets serious at times. It has great characters, great people that like you could follow, Gandalf, and you have Thorin, who you're like, you frustrate me, but I get you. But you frustrate me. But Bilbo's growth is just so astronomically dope that that's the one that's most resonates, because I'm like, man, Bilbo really went through it, but he stood tall. He stood tall. He found his thing. He's using it to the best of his thing, and then you find out what it is later in other books. But it just goes back and it just wraps it up with a pretty bow. And Smaug is one of the illest villains ever, man. He's a great antagonist, man, and he's phenomenal, man. So yeah, definitely The Hobbit. I personally connected to, I would say, I know this is gonna seem weird, but Gandalf. Um, I like really out of the Fellowship, which is who we probably spend the most time with. Um, I really feel Gandalf's the weight of Gandalf's task and his unwavering commitment toward it. His sadness, he's very sad throughout. He knows things that other people don't know, and he's like, oh man, and he's giving advice all the time, and he's fighting beyond hope with but he's shackled a bit. He can't use his full power. And he's scared of what's to come, and what and who he has to face. But he does it, he completes his task, he stays faithful. He's really a dope character. I feel like that in life with certain things. Um, you know, been put here to do something, and trying to get it done, and trust myself, and get other people to believe, and fight the good fight. So Gandalf. Hurin Thalion is the greatest hero in the first age. Yeah, I think Hurin is the greatest hero. I think Fingolfin is the strongest elf and the great, great king. But Hurin, hero wise, he's unbeatable. The man, the man ain't no snitch. The man stayed faithful to the elves. He stayed faithful to the secret of Gondolin. Even when he screamed toward Gondolin, he didn't know he was being followed. That's not his fault. He didn't know what was going on. He literally is like, yo, he even when his kids got cursed and everything, he still didn't crumble and tell on the elves where the location of Gondolin was. He fought the entire army of Angband and didn't waver after his brother's death and all his people about him. He is the dopest hero in the first age to me. He's short lived, but he is phenomenal. I know a lot of people would be like Baron or Luthien or Tuor, but to me, it's Hurin, man. Nobody like Hurin really stood on it more than anybody, bro. This might come as a surprise to you. Um, Meme, Meme the dwarf, I think is the most misunderstood character. I think that a lot of people say Turin, but I don't misunderstand Turin. I kind of get Turin's silliness or whatever he had going on. Um, it's tragic, but the self doubt kind of leads to the things that he has going on. Meme is looked at by many as evil and this, that, and third, where he's put in impossible situations, and you know it's like, yo, if you really think about what he's going through and what he's had to deal with and the position he's put in, you blame him for the choices that he made, where it's something really different. Like it's like he's clearly a bad character, like he's bad guy, right? But really think about what happened to him. Son is killed immediately, and his home is taken up for ransom, and you're asking him, "Oh, forgive me while we squat in your house." And then you know what I mean? Like, oh, then you bring an elf who I tell you, hey, listen, I'm dealing with this. Okay, I even grown to love you and like you, but now I got to deal with this elf. I told you I don't mess with the elves, man, at all, bro. They took our home of Nulu Keysdean. You know what I'm saying? And Godpron, we originally delved that out, and we lived there, and it is taken from us. They used to hunt us. I hate the elves, and now this elf comes, and you expect me to be cool, and then the orcs press them, and they're like, "Yo, we're gonna kill you if you don't tell us what." Well, I'm dealing with these people. They don't really ain't messing with me right now. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Yo, here, go ahead, man. It is what it is, man. Like, what do I get? How do I salvage what I got? All I have left is this hill here and my other son, and what's the remnants of what's left of that, and my people. I'm the last of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, what is wasn't it for me, man? And yeah, me, the line of Fingolfin, I absolutely love them. All of them stand up. Big energy, big stand up energy. They all about that life. Fingolfin, Fingon, Arathel, Turgon, and then so on and so forth. Idril, Celebrimbor, Eärendil, all the way down to Elrond and Elros. Stand up. It's like, yo, who made this house? They're really those people. Like, you know what I mean? Um, One of the things immediately drew me was Fingolfin's reaction to Feanor pulling the sword on him. and him not overreacting and not taking a taking a step back and being like, you know what, this is my brother, man. This is my brother, yo. I'm gonna do the right thing. But how dedicated he was to when his brother did him really dirty, to crossing the Hellcarax and being like, yo, I'm gonna stand on business. And just thinking he lost all his kin and fighting a god and the things Fingon did, finding his cousin Mithros and freeing him from the precipice of stone on Thangaradrum and the efforts to do that and quell the bad blood between the two houses. Fingon hemming around Gothma, not Gothma, Glaurung, and doing all the things that Fingon did, amazing. Fighting in the Near Naeth, even though he died there, and then Turgon just being stand up, just like his father. Turgon would stand up just like his father, man. Aol was talking crazy to him. Could have easily slayed Aol immediately, but he didn't. He extended his hand. Aol had jumped out the window, obviously, and killed his sister. Then he did throw him off the Caddock door. But beside that, man, he was giving him. He's being a good king. These are examples of good kings, good leadership, leading by example, and doing the right thing, and being a good person, and then making tough decisions as well. But there's hints of, obviously they he should have left Gondolin and this, that, and the third, and pride, comes into it. But other than that, man, stand up, great fighter. He wills Glamdring, and with such great effect, it echoes in eternity. And we see those same traits in every subsequent relation that he has. It's phenomenal. Glam Glamdring the Foehammer. Glamdring is my favorite weapon, man. Well, for one, we hear of Glamdring more than any other sword, probably beside Anduril. Um, but it's wielded by Turgon, who I love and revere, and it's from Gondolin, which is everything to me. And it's so strong, and it broke the sword of the Balrog on the bridge of Doom, and it glows blue, and it's just man, Glamdring is really like it. Glamdring is so powerful and made a certain way, and it's kingly, and man, it's just the lineage is there, the history is there. It's just phenomenal, man. It's phenomenal. Oh man, that is tough. I would choose the Nauglamir without the Silmaril. I would just choose the Nauglamir. I love dwarven craft. I think that between that and the Dragon Helm of Dorlomin, those are just so mystical and perfect things that the dwarves created. Specifically, uh, Telkar. Um, that I would choose probably the Nauglamir first, and then the Dragon Helm next. But just to have that, and it always rested perfectly, and it was light, and it was just their most treasured thing, most valued thing ever. Like I would choose the Nauglamir. Cinderin, I like it the most. I think that the way it it's very Latin to me. Um, and the way it compounds words together to make a name and describe places. I love it. I love how it's something everybody can grasp. Everybody knows Cinderin for the most part. Like, even Frodo and them can kind of get a hold of it, and men know it, and it's the one everybody is like, okay, this is our base language where everybody can kind of know this one. Obviously, besides Westeros, but definitely Cinderin, man. I love Cinderin. Most things are actually described in Cinderin, and they have the illest name, Gorthau the Cruel. What? That sounds so ill, man. You know what I'm saying? Like every like all the names of everything mostly important is in Cinderin. I like Cinderin. I'd be a dwarf. I'd be a dwarf. Their pride, their strength, their stubbornness, um, but their kindness and their fast friends. Like they once they're your friend, they're your friend. They really like that. This skill is unrivaled in certain aspects. It's just their love of making and building and uh the art of their craft and the making of their homes and their dwellings. They take tremendous pride in it, and they're great warriors and fighters, and they're unapologetic, and you know they are secretive. They love what they love. They're dope. I really like the dwarves. They don't play around, but their love is so deep for things, man. I think they appreciate things more than the elves do in a certain aspect. I know we could say the elves love this and love that, but they live so long they can forget that love, and the dwarves really, like, I feel like, man, they they never forget a place. The elves live somewhere, and if something happens to it, they kind of like, oh well, we can move on. We could do this. We could do that. Where the dwarves is like, yo, no, man, Casa Doom, man. I want to go back there, man. We want to one day, that we remember the splendor and the greatness of our once beautiful home, and our ancestral home, and Mount Gundabad, and all of those places. They revere, and they worship, and Aule's skill and craft. They mirror it, and everything about the doors is really cool, and they're tough. I love their Tonka tough. The Near Neathar Nordiad, the fifth battle, the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. I think that battle was done exceedingly well. I think it shows who is the most stand up. I think we have where if we read the book glancingly, a lot of people are like, the elves did this, the elves did that. If you read that battle, who stands up the hardest? Not only is it men, but it's also the dwarves. They put in so much pain. If but for the dwarves of Belagast, everybody would have been withered. If but for Hurin, Gondolin would have been discovered. Now I love when the Gondolin's room come and how they're described. And it said they had spears like a forest and everything about how the strength of their army. But it's those individual acts that Hurin and Huor do, and that Azagol does, and even the way they pick up Azagol after he's killed, and they walk off the field and nobody won't say nothing to them. Like, that is the most epic shit ever. Like, the elves have tons of epic moments and epic things they do, but I felt in that particular battle that their shine wasn't as high as the other races, and that's cool to see, because like I said, it's very like elf centric. Everybody's like, oh, the elves, the elves, the elves, and I love the elves, but it's when you pay attention to what's really going on, the elves are getting saved a lot of times, bro. And this is one of the reasons the Edine get to live in Numenor. They get the island gifted to them, because look what they did. They didn't even have to be a part of that, bro. They did not have to be a part of that. So yeah, that battle is just phenomenal and tragic, and it has everything: wolves, balrogs, dragons. We got the Easterlings, we got the Edine, we got on a great gigantic field at Ving Falglyph. It's just tragedy, man. Well, this isn't my favorite Valar, but I would spend the night with Orome, and I would ask him to tell me stories of the hunting of Melkor's creatures and the battles that he's been through. I find that really interesting. I find him really interesting. I think he's dope and brave and unrelenting, and he's like on it. Like, whenever there's a problem, he's like first to jump up. Him and Tolkien. So I would spend it with him, and ask him those questions. What have you seen, Wanderer? You know. Well, The Fellowship is my favorite movie out of the three. And in that movie, there's a couple of scenes that are my favorite. Very, very different type of scenes, though. And I'll tell you why I'm mentioning both. So when Gandalf fights the Balrog on the Bridge of Khazad-dûm, it's my favorite scene. Like, I just think they executed what's on the page and put on the screen perfectly. And the fear and the bravery all rolled up in one, and the hurt on Frodo's face, and Aragorn's concern, and Boromir's like, man, for pity's sake, like, give him a moment, for pity's sake. And everybody's hurt, and it's just, fly, you fools. It's perfect. Most perfectly done part of any adaptation, I think. Um, Beside that, that isn't a moment of action. When Aragorn is walking with the hobbits through what's the remnants of Arnor, and he looks up at Weathertop and says, "This was once the great watchtower of Amin Sul." And you you don't know what that means if you haven't read the book, and you feel his longing and his reverence for what that used to be and what it means to him, and it hurts him that it's destroyed, and it's just like, oh man, it used to be so amazing, like, and I come from this, and this is the history, and man, this was the great Watchtower of Amos. You don't even I wish you hobbits understood what that means. You know what I mean? It makes you feel something without even knowing that you're feeling it, per se. It's magical. Just like when he sings in the extended version, when he sings of Baron and Luthien, and he says, Frodo asks, what happened to her? She died. And he's thinking about Arwen, and he's like, ah, those moments right there, man. Faramir, bringing Frodo and them to Osgiliath. Take that shit out. Excuse my language. Take it out. I hate it. I hate it so much, bro. Get it out of here, man. Trusted Sam. I definitely trust Sam to do my groceries. Come on, that's easy right there. Sam, go get everything. I know he's coming back with bacon. He's gonna have potatoes. He's gonna he's gonna come through. He's gonna have salt, all of that. Yeah, Sam ain't forgetting nothing. Yeah, definitely Sam. So my most meaningful gift that I received is from a 3D printer by the name of Fins Forged. And man, when I tell you, it is the helmet of Icthelion. And it is beautiful and amazing, and I absolutely treasure and love it. He appreciated my work and what I do, follows me, and he makes magnificent 3D printed models of every type of thing. And he was like, "Yo, bro, I want to just do something for you. Let me know, like, I'm making like helmets because I love Lord of the Rings as well. And what is a helmet that you would like? What helmet would you like?" And it was, there's many to choose from: the helmet of Gondor, Tuor's helmet. There's a great many spectacular helms there, and I just immediately I was like Ecthelion. Ecthelion is like my second favorite elf in the Legendarium. He's just spectacular. He's phenomenal, and I just wanted his helm because it got the spike at the top. That's how he slayed Gothmog, and he's so dope. And he's like just very stoic and brave, and I just was like I love Stellion. And he's so smooth too. He's so smooth. He goes into battle playing the flute. He's the man, bro. He's like that. A tradition that we've come to get together now is just meeting my friends that I've made along the way and the family that I made along the way in the Tolkien verse here. And we have a group of us. We have our Voices of Art crew that we've gotten. It's me, Cali Cosplay. We got my man Belmont, Tim, Andy. There's so many of us. It's so many of us that we've found a commonality in mutual respect and love for the work and each other. And like every year we get together and we do something, whether it be going to see the movies or live orchestra where we all get together and we do that, or we find something else to do. I've recently just gotten back from two of their weddings. You know what I'm saying? So we do that stuff like that, and that every year we find something in that capacity to do, man. So shout out to all of them. Forgive me if I didn't mention everybody's name, but yeah, man. They're like definitely our heartbeat within the fandom. I'm really into like I'm really a child of hip hop. So my obsession would be, what I'm saying, like I was a artist for a bit, what I'm saying, not successfully or something like that, but just I grew up just rapping. I love hip hop, man. I love rapping. I was like, that's my thing, man. You know what I'm saying? So I love music. I love the Wu-Tang Clan, man. I'm obsessed with the Wu-Tang Clan. That's my joint. Ghostface Killer is my favorite rapper. I love Greek mythology, man. I love a great many deal of different things. I'm very eclectic in a certain sense. You'd be surprised the things that I'm into, like that's all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean? Like I love playing spades. I love like that's my favorite game. I could play it all day. You know what I'm saying? Like um a bunch of stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm big up on reading. I'm big up on listening to music. Um, I'm big up on having a good time with my friends. And, I'm a big movie and TV show watcher. That's how my family we were. That's how we bonded through over TV and stuff like that. I love wrestling. I grew up being a big wrestling fan. A lot of people don't know that. You know what I'm saying? So a huge wrestling fan here. Um, and yeah, a great many things. I would say I'm pretty eclectic. So I was just, honestly, I was at work, and I didn't know anything about TikTok or anything like that. I thought it was like a kids app, and my friend was on it, and he showed it to me, and he showed me other things that were on it. I'm not going to get into that whole story, but it's pretty funny. But yeah, I was just like, oh, camaraderie, because where I'm at, nobody reads the Lord of the Rings, and it wasn't, I didn't have a lot of people growing up that I were able to talk to about it. So I was like, oh, this is a place where I can have an outlet to just even view and talk to other people about it. I had really no plans on making any content or anything like that, and I just happened to make a video responding to somebody saying that Dumbledore could beat Gandalf, and I was like, what? Yeah, right. So I stitched the video, and the response to my video was so overwhelming, and they started asking me all these questions, and it's just an outlet that okay, now I can actually unleash what's been inside me this whole time, and what I knew, and I didn't realize I knew as much as I did until everybody else realized that I did. And then it was been finding like family amongst these people, and this fandom. It's been amazing. And then yeah, the rest is just like history. Well, every time somebody tells me that I'm the reason that they're reading, particularly the Silmarillion, because that's the hardest one, and they're going to do it because I inspired them by just a video I made or how I describe it or talk about it. It really really resonates with me. It makes me feel like, man, I'm here for a purpose, and that my love for the material is not singular, and I can share it with people. And anytime I meet anyone who's a fan, it's like, wow, man, you must have something that or doing something or have something to where it resonates with people, because man, I've gotten writers of Lord of the Rings projects who are fans of mine and stuff like that, and like big Lord of the Rings projects, like movies and things, where they're like, "Oh my God, I'm a huge fan of yours," and like it's like, what? You're a fan of mine, and um, it's just really humbling, and um, it's an amazing feeling. It makes you feel really warm inside. It makes me feel like not alone in that sense. Um, you know what I'm saying? And I'm so grateful. I'm very grateful and honored that people want to listen to what I have to say. So absolutely, it just makes me feel phenomenal, man. And this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I continue to do it. I thought about this many times, and my answer is clear and cut. I would ask him to give me a full, fleshed out history of the Witch King of Angmar, who is also kind of favorite with Sauron. So I would want to know, where did he come from? What's his motivations? Which kingdom did he rise in the ranks of? What was his origin as far as like you know what I'm saying? The sorcery. Like, where did he first begin dibbling and dabbling in sorcery? You know what I'm saying? His thoughts with about Sauron. He's completely loyal to him, but how does he feel? Because we know this, willpower is very dominating in Lord of the Rings, and a lot of people are being forced to do things, and or out of fear and things like that. I would just love to know everything about the Witch King. I would ask that. His name, did he once have a love? Is that his motivation? Did something happen to his people, and or what I'm saying, all of those things. What was he doing during the end of the Second Age when Sauron was battling uh in Mordor? I know the nine were there, but we don't know what they were doing. So I want to know about the battles he participated in, the wars of Arnor. I want to know, how that was going for him from his perspective, and the tactical moves that he made, what he learned necromancy from, which we can kind of assume he learned from Sauron. But yeah, I would like to know all those things. What did he do with like what did he do with the last king of Gondor? Like where is he? I know he's probably dead, but what exactly did you do to him? I would love to know that. So yeah, I would ask him about the Witch King. I would say open your mind and just let your imagination run wild. Don't listen to anybody else. Just take what you take of it and escape into the world and be free. That's what I would say. I would say be free, open your mind and let your thoughts and your emotions run free and connect with what you're seeing or feeling and just combine it and just be free and just enjoy and just joy and imagine more. And there's more. There's much more. So but I am sort of an expert. I work with various companies, doing consulting with Lord of the Rings or promotion for Lord of the Rings, and you'll see me doing just about any and everything that has to do with Lord of the Rings. This is what I do, but I'm the most down to earth, regular guy. I make it really understandable for those that may not be super nerds or whatever. I make it kind of relatable and understandable. I guess that's my niche, my area of expertise there. So I love bringing the love of Tolkien to the masses and displaying my love of Tolkien and my knowledge of Tolkien. And yeah, I'm really fun. And you can also find me on the Voices of Arda. I have a podcast called Voices of Arda along with Cali Cosplay. And then we also have this under the same name. Voices of Arda, our YouTube channel is a conglomeration of other content creators that do Lord of the Rings content, and we all work together and we put out videos and knowledge and we do trivia and fun things like that and fun games and stuff like that. So I'm kind of a Lord of the Rings everyman. So yeah.